Welcome back. Artists Cheriese Dilrajh and Hemali Khoosal will today open their in-passing joint exhibition at the Bag Factory Artists Studios in Johannesburg. Through this body of work, Cheriese and Hemali explore fleeting encounters, and both their individual and collective works will be on show until the 17th of September with a walkabout on the 4th of September. The duo, who are recipients of the Bag Factory's 2020 Young Womxn Studio Bursary, join us now via Zoom to tell us more about this project. Ladies, a very good morning to you. Thanks indeed for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you for having us.
Good to have you. Now, Hemali, I'm going to start with you. How did this collaboration between you and Cheriese come about?
Through the Bag Factory. We knew each other briefly through university, but we hadn't actually collaborated before this point. So it was quite special to have the Bag Factory bring us together because there were so many overlaps in our work. So, yeah, it's been really lovely to work with Cheriese. And I'm going to,
Sure. Cheriese, please elaborate more on what In Passing is all about, as well as the significance behind this title.
Okay, so In Passing is about the encounters that we had with people through our collaborative project, which deals with Fortsburg as a space. We found Fortsburg to be a place that contains so many different people. It's actually like a cultural container for so many different worlds. And that was the point of entry for our collaborative piece. But other than that, we also had like points of intersection in our own work. And we were thinking about what a sort of melancholic time it is in the world because of COVID as well. So it's not only because of the fleeting interactions with people that allow us entry points into other worlds and the social dynamics between different groups of people, but also like what we're going through as a society collectively.
Yeah, and you spoke of the points of intersection between your work, and I'm quite curious to know what some of the commonalities are in between your projects.
Okay, do you want to? Yeah, so I think both Cheriese and I, there's a lot of similarities in the way we work. We both have a love of video, so the medium is a home for both of us. But also in terms of our content, so we both are quite interested in intergenerational knowledge, so things that are passed down from from one generation to the next.
Yes.
We also both quite interested in migration, which is why Fortsburg was such a special place for us to be working, filming, researching, because we got to meet so many people from all over, and they were also giving and sharing with their stories. So as two artists who are socially engaged, it was a really, really special time for us.
You know, Hemali, you mentioned migration, and I know that this project also reveals the underlying past histories and the current realities of ex-residents who were forcibly removed during the Group Areas Act and the people who have migrated from the other countries more recently. Tell us more about this, Hemali.
So we were quite interested in the fact that there's layering of different people in Fortsburg, because there's residents who have been here since, apartheid. Some of them who had to move out because of the Group Areas Act, who hold this place quite dearly in their hearts and have a very nostalgic view of Fortsburg. And then there's also people who are more newly integrated into Fortsburg and
other parts of Africa and the Middle East.
Yes.
So we were quite interested in the relationship between those different groups, because some of them were forced to move out of their homes in other countries and come here, which is one type of being displaced or needing to migrate. And others were forced out of Fortsburg during the Group Areas Act. So both of them share that commonality. So we were wondering if they would understand each other's experiences or be able to empathize. And that's what we were really interested in.
Right. Cheriese, what inspired your project, and how did you interpret the theme for this showcase?
So I think my work deals with migration in different ways. Another thing that I was interested in my own work was the history of indentured labor, because my ancestors were from India who migrated to Durban. And I think about indentured labor from a more gendered perspective, and the effect that it has on women in my family, and how women's labor actually holds up the state, but it's something that's so invisibilized.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and just take us through the process that went into producing your body of work for this exhibition, Cheriese.
I think the approach that I took was envisioning it in how can I create different worlds that I'm trying to imagine.
Okay.
So, there's a saying by Arundhati Roy that says, another world is not only possible, she's on her way, and on a quiet day, I can hear her breathing.
Okay. Now, Hemali,
And
I
for
quite
me,
like what Cheriese has just said, that she envisioned how she could imagine the world that she wants to live in. Now, take us through your respective role for this project and how the experience was like for the both of you.
So the experience was quite special, especially because the Bag Factory is quite a collaborative space, and everyone sort of just walks into your studio and then you end up having really special chats about your work. And so, for example, I made 2 giant paintings, and I never make paintings on that scale, but I had one of the artists who functions as a mentor over here take me to Plaza and get me, tell me to get this big piece of material. And so it stretched my work in new ways. And that was a really important part of the process, was having so much external input on my work. Yeah. And being able to experiment, because we had a space to experiment and to try new things, new ways of making things. So instead of just using paint, I could use a powder, and I could really be messy because we had a studio, which was really, really cool. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Cheriese, what can art patrons expect to see when, and also experience as well, when they come through to view these installations?
Well, there's a lot of installation and video work. There's also a booth with a collaborative film. It's quite an experience, I would say. Yeah, we try to create an entry point to different worlds.
Okay. So, ladies, how are you reachable in terms of, some art patrons who want to indulge in your work? What should they do? Do you have any studios, perhaps?
We do have a studio.
Okay.
It's also at the Bag Factory.
Okay, all right.
But in terms of contacting us, I have a website, which is www.hemali.art, and Cheriese is on Instagram.
Yes, yeah, you can find me on Instagram, or you can email me, perhaps. It's cheriese.dilrajh@gmail.com.
Yeah. But
Okay.
also, come and meet us today. The opening is today, everyone.
Okay.
And
What time? Please give us those details.
It's from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m.
Okay.
And it's in Johannesburg at Bag Factory, obviously.
Okay.
Opposite the plaza. So it's very accessible for people, and you should totally come through and join us. Maybe we should take you for a little tiny walk around to see a sneak peek of our exhibition.
That would be great. That would be great.
Okay.
Hemali and Cheriese, lovely
Awesome.
chatting to you, ladies. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, good stuff. Well, that was recipients of the Bag Factory's 2020 Young Womxn Studio Bursary, Cheriese Dilrajh and Hemali Khoosal, speaking to us about their joint exhibition that opens today called In Passing. It will open at 11 a.m. in Johannesburg.